So Al, one of the subjects in our industry of great interest is lab testing of products.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that?
In my talks that I do at the colleges or in front of doctors, I always have a section on laboratory testing. And there's a great problem in the industry in that there are no regulations for laboratories. You don't have a big certificate that says, I'm a great lab and I've been audited by the FDA or something. Unlike if you draw blood, it goes to a CLIA-approved lab, so it gets insurance reimbursed. And they have many, many standards and SOPs. And there's some really good laboratories that do laboratory analysis for dietary supplement substances, but there are a lot of fraudulent laboratories out there. We call them dry labs. So they don't even get the ingredients wet to test them. It's just the product comes in, they sign off and put up a fictitious number. We had when I give my talk, I talk about one lab that they are a laboratory that will do analysis for people, and one of our competitors all the time would send out with their multiple vitamin or anything you ordered a copy of a certificate of analysis for all the ingredients on the label. And so we had a pharmacist order a bottle from that company, and they also will send out a CD that's got all these independent analysis. And one of the labs they used was this dry lab, this fraudulent lab. And so we had a pharmacist order a bottle of their multi, and it came with a certificate of analysis and said, it has so many milligrams of pyridoxal phosphate, and what's on the label, it was almost perfect. Everything was always just a little bit above what was on the label. Yeah. So I'll do the demonstration here. I'm going to give you 2 empty bottles, take the lids off.
Okay.
So what the pharmacist did is, hold those, is he took the multi that they had he purchased, it already had a certificate of analysis, and he took 2 empty bottles, and he just split the pills, put a bunch of pills in one bottle, and a bunch in another. And then he took 3 substances that were in the original product. There are 30 ingredients on the label, or 25, and they're very hard to analyze for once you get them in a matrix of multiple vitamin minerals. So almost any analysis is not going to be really very accurate. And it was biotin, vitamin D, and pyridoxal phosphate, which is the active form of vitamin B6. Okay. So he had this, and it said, it has, I think it was 3.5 or 3.3 milligrams of pyridoxal phosphate. And so he had them analyze, and he said, this is product A, which has 2 milligrams, and this is product B, which has 6 milligrams. Mm-hmm. And he sent it right back to the same laboratory, already had the analysis. And lo and behold, the analysis came back with exactly what he requested, even though this was the same product from this bottle that they already analyzed and given one result. There were 2 different results which corresponded to what he asked for. If he had asked for 100 milligrams of pyridoxal phosphate, it would have come back at 101.235. If he said it was 71, it would have come back at 72.173. So it was a fake lab.
So they're just getting what the manufacturer, it's sort of what they asked them is what they get back.
Right, and they take the money and
so that's a dry lab.
That's a dry lab, but it goes on even more importantly that there's lab shopping. So if you are company Z and you send something to a really good laboratory and they find out that you're not meeting your label claims on a number of things, you change labs to one that will kind of give you the results that you like. Okay, that's lab shopping, and there are labs that are out there that will do that. Then you also have. So
you're aware. I mean, you would know who those.
And the people in the laboratory world know who the bad players are, and in reality, the FDA does too. Mm-hmm. So if they come in to inspect a dietary supplement manufacturer and they start seeing that they're using 3 bad laboratories, they're going to look very deeply at what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Now, the next thing is the fun one is you go to. I always go to the health food convention in Anaheim once a year. It's the Natural Products Expo.
Yes.
And you'll see a health food store company that will have a book this thick with analysis, and they'll have the super rich nutrient food, herbal 30 combination of herbs, and they'll have an analysis from laboratory X, and it'll have marker compounds of zeaxanthines, that are found in this product to tenths of a microgram or something, and it'll have all these things listed. Once you start mixing a lot of these groups together and some of these substances, you can't distinguish in any analytical method what you've got in there. So I mean, and the FDA knows this because in their new regulations, they look at you having to identify the individual raw materials as they come in, because they know once you mix them, may not be a test that will be valid to show that you have all those levels of those products. So when you see this, someone comes into a doctor's office with this analysis that's independent, that has 23 herbs, and they have these microgram quantities of all these fine marker compounds which may be in the herb, it's really something that can't be done. So the company that's selling it may not even know that. It's just maybe the lab that's running this for them is taking a wild guess from their label copy. So this stuff may not be in there. Wow. So it is a problem. I mean, what you need an in-house laboratory, and a lot of people don't have one. You need an in-house laboratory that actually functions, and you work with other laboratories and you cross-check and make sure your procedures are right and what you're getting for results are right.